everybody, Daniel Rodriguez here, and welcome to my spoiler review for Kingsman: The Golden Circle. As you heard correctly, and from the title, spoilers. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. If you have not seen Kingsman: The Golden Circle, then do not continue. Make sure that you go see Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I'll give you my quick, non-spoiler thoughts in a second, but I did make a quick non-spoiler review, and I will put that at the end, and it'll be on the screen somewhere at the end of the video, but this is for spoilers only. Spoilers. We're going to talk about stuff that will ruin the movie for you if you have not seen Kingsman: The Golden Circle. So bye-bye, come back after you see the film, appreciate you. For those who are staying, for those who have seen the film, hello! Let's go ahead and talk about this, man. Quick thoughts real quick. I think it is an okay film, good action film, not better than the first film. Slow, shouldn't be 2 hours and 20 minutes, should be an hour 50 minutes to 2 hours. Really good action again. Stuff like that, basically. I kind of basically want to give it like a C+ in a sense. But there's more to talk about, and the reasons why I think it's not better than the first one is what we're going to get into. I don't really have much of a script or anything more than my pros and cons, so I'm just going to be telling you guys the stuff I liked, the stuff I didn't like, Pedro Pascal's character, to Channing Tatum's screen time, to this and to that, and why the villain sucked, why the motivation didn't work. All of this stuff we're going to be talking about. So, yeah, for that, again, I think it's an okay film. It's not better than the first film. It has moments that are better than the first film, but nothing close to where it's better. Or it's not worse either. I'm saying it's not a terrible film by any means. It has bad moments, but it's nothing where I'd say, don't go see this film. If you enjoy the first Kingsman film and you want to see the continuation of Eggsy's story, then see this film. For the people who actually love and respect the first Secret Service Kingsman, the Secret Service film. So without further ado, as well, before I get on to the spoiler review, I do want to mention to you guys that my It spoiler review and Mother spoiler review is out. Very well reception, and a bunch of people have been watching them, and I really do appreciate you guys for that. And if you guys are interested in seeing my opinion on It and on Mother, which was with Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem, they will be at the end in the video somewhere on the screen as well. Of course, It, I wasn't real enough for you, Billy. I wasn't real enough for Georgie. And then, of course, Mother, I'm trying to bring life back into this house. Javier Bardem, the beautiful Javier. Anyway, now on to Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Let's get right into it, man. Let's get right into the big things and the stuff I wanna address here, and I want to hear your feedback as well. Really, the villain, Jullian Moore, which is a really good actress. She's amazing. She's good in the film. Like, acting-wise, she's good. She's good. The writing-wise for the villain is very weak. I don't know, like, I get the whole thing, and I like the creativity, the way that they did that with the whole burger, and, you know, the guy had to eat the guy and stuff inside the burger. That's all interesting, you know. She's a weird, psychotic villain that just sits around at her desk all day, and it's just like, that's crazy. Oh, is somebody at the gate? Let them in. That's basically really what she is. I've never actually seen her actually move her ass, actually do shit. All she does is just sit at her desk or stand up and make human burgers. That's all she was. At least Samuel L. Jackson, Valentine, he was everywhere. He was doing commercials. He was doing interviews. He was everywhere, man, in a sense. I don't even think he was doing interviews, but I'm thinking about it. He was doing more stuff than what she did. So as villain-wise, this was one of the weakest elements out of the Golden Circle. Was not Jullian Moore's acting, but the writing of the character and the motivation of the character. You could have done way better with villain writing, for sure. This was very weak. Jullian Moore, and her motivation behind everything, and basically she's like the biggest drug dealer, and she lives out in the middle of the woods. We get it. You said it like 600 times. And like she did that whole thing where she's talking to the guy and like exposition. I live out in the jungle. I'm homesick, and I do I do the whole drug thing business. Like, we get it. You're in the drug business. You don't have to say it 1,000 times. And she just acts like she's on top of the world. She's the best, and she wants to overtake the whole world for stupid reasons. And a lot of people who do drugs end up getting the virus, and the president, I don't know, that's obviously not a hit to Trump. Like, it wasn't like a Trump impersonator or something like that, but the president in itself was just dumb. And I get it, it's a silly film, and the thing is, when I walked out of the film, people were saying, like, that was terrible. And others were saying, and not everyone hated it, don't get me wrong, but they were like, that it was not as good as the first one. Or, and one of the people said, did you like the film? What do you think about the film? And I said, because I just got out of it, so I was just thinking, and I didn't process yet. I was just like, it was good. And they're like, you poor thing. Literally, like, oh, poor child. That's what you could, like, basically, like, that's what you consider good. Oh, man, you haven't seen nothing yet. I didn't mean it like that. No, this is not an Oscar-worthy film. No. What did you guys expect? It's a popcorn summer film. It's not really meant to be taken 100% seriously. It's silly. It's wink to the eye. That's what it is. It's not supposed to be serious every single second. It's just supposed to be a fun spy comic book film. If I'm not mistaken, Kingsman is based off a comic book, and this is basically a comic book film. So I don't know what you're expecting. Are you expecting some indie film, Robert Pattinson or Casey Affleck or some shit to pop up somewhere? No, that's not that type of film. This is a fun action film that families and boyfriends and girlfriends and people can enjoy and just drink to and whatever, man, and eat popcorn and not take escape the real world for a second instead of crying about every little dramatic scene. This is more of just a fun summer film. So with that, it's an okay film, good action film. Nothing too great in a sense where it'd be like, oh, that's better than the first one. I think the choreography was still at its top. It was still 110% choreography and the directing of it and the cinematography of the action scenes. We'll get to Pedro Pascal in a little bit. But anyway, where was I getting to? Samuel L. Jackson was better in the first one. Sofia Boutella was a great assistant. And then the president, he's just a joke in here. Like, he was a horrible president. I'm just saying, like, the way that they ended up doing that, and he was just, everybody's doing drugs and they're locking them up and they're all basically going to die and it's inevitable. And basically, people, like, what happens, again, if people were experimenting, or what happens if someone was forced to do heroin and they didn't want to, just hypothetically speaking, and they're going to die just because you don't want to get them the antidotes and pain or whatever. I don't know, negotiating with terrorists, we don't know if she negotiate with terrorists, but the thing is, it's like the whole motivation of the villain in the film with the drugs and the antidote, it really just... As a thing to hold on to for 2 hours and 21 minutes from point A to point B, it doesn't hold up, and it gets confusing for me, and where I just don't care. I really believe in a sense that Samuel Jackson's motivations were way better than what Jullian Moore's motivations were in this film. And her henchman, the guy with the fist, with the mechanical arm, he was fine in the beginning. That was all cool. But after he lived and basically he was going to be used more and more, it kind of got annoying where he just kept coming and with his mechanical arm. And apparently that was his girlfriend who was that's where it really got slow, I think. Really, in the film, in the second act, is where they were at this music concert, and him, Eggsy and Whiskey were at the music concert, and he sleeps with this girl and puts his finger in her pussy. And this whole thing there where she's just... So that's the girl... So were you intentionally going to that girl, or were you just looking for a random girl, or that's... I guess they were. Maybe I just missed that whole part there for a second. But that's his girlfriend, the guy with the mechanical arm, and then he ends up blowing her up. And, like, the antidotes were in there, or antidotes, and I really got lost after a little bit in senses where, like, this is a stupid thing that you're doing, or this is a stupid route, or that scene's a little bit overdrawn. I really think the music festival scene, I felt like they could have done something way more different than that whole music scene. Especially Eggsy's girlfriend. Beautiful. Really cool to see Eggsy in a relationship and hang out with his friends and be normal for once instead of being all Kingsman tuxedo and stuff. That's great. I like scenes like that, but they don't really show them as much as they really should have. More, especially his interaction with his girlfriend, because his girlfriend gets angry. Girl, at least he's actually being honest with you and telling you, hey, do I have your permission to do this? Otherwise, I won't do this. And she's all angry. And what do you know? I guess she does drugs or something. Maybe she did heroin or cocaine. Or the princess's daughter is not so innocent after all, is she? Because she ends up getting the virus because apparently every single person does drugs. Literally every single person, basically. And everyone's down for it. Have them die. Have them die. So we'll get more into that there. Statesman. This is something I want to get before we get to Pedro Pascal, how awesome he was, but at the same time he was a villain in that whole predictable sense there. Now, with the Statesman, Jeff Bridges, he's good for the role he's in this film. Jeff Bridges is amazing. Halle Berry, she's good in here. Channing Tatum, for the little 3 minutes, 4 minutes he's in here, he's good. And then Pedro Pascal was like the best out of the Statesman, and then he doesn't get no recognition. His name's not on the poster. I don't even know if he's even on the poster. He is in the film longer than Tatum. He's in the film longer, most likely just a few minutes more than Halle Berry, and he's in there more than Bridges. He's definitely in there with Bridges and Tatum combined. He's longer in there, Pascal, and he doesn't get the love he deserves and the attention he deserves. We got a really good actor here, and he's not getting that attention and spotlight that he worked for, man. I mean, he's amazing in Narcos. He's done, like, literally 15, 20 films the past, 4 or 5 years. Maybe not that much, but it feels like he's in everything now, which is amazing. He's an entertaining guy to actually be seen on screen, and he's done different characters before in the past. It's Lasso. Manners maketh man. You know, his text is in Whiskey, man. He was the best fun new character that I was interested in and wanted to dive more deep into, because he was very mystery-ish. You can't see him in a sense of who he truly is. He could be a good guy. He could be a bad guy. He could be messing with you. He could not be messing with you. So all this stuff there, it was so great to see Whiskey's character unravel over the film, but then to actually be true that he was a bad guy. Like, Jullian Moore died, and when she croaked on the ground and shit, okay, we won. And then all of a sudden he ends up showing up. And it was a really good fight. It really was. I think the fighting in here is as good, if not maybe a little bit more down than the first one. But as a film, you pay to be entertained. And if you walk out of this film and say you're not entertained, then I don't know if you know what, you should probably, you should be entertained at least during one scene of this film. And I feel with everybody's judgment, I feel like everyone just hates this. From the screening I went to, it just feels like everyone's like, it wasn't as good as the first one. I get it. The first 10, 20 minutes, I was thinking to myself, the first action scene, I was thinking to myself, I was thinking to myself about the first Kingsman, and I just gotta not think about the first Kingsman, and I just gotta think about this film. Just this film alone. Not thinking about the first one, not thinking about what's better than that, or what's better than this. This is just its own film. This is a very sequel-like. It has the sequel cliches, bigger budget, bigger action, over the top. But it's fine because it's a comic book film. But how over the top is over the top once it gets over the top? Once it gets just stupidity. Once the villain is just stupid and you don't take them serious. Once the president is stupid and you don't take them serious. Especially after, and we'll get to the good stuff too. I'm just trying to tell you the stuff I couldn't talk about in my non-spoiler review. Tatum's character, again, it feels like all of it's just a setup for a third film. Halle Berry, she was good in here. Felt like she could have been used more. Bridges could have been used more. killing off, was it Roxy or Proxy? I think it was Roxy, the girl that helped Eggsy out when she was on the when he met his girlfriend's parents, and she ended up blowing up. She died, and I literally was like, really? She was an interesting character, and she was cute, and she was interesting, and I was thinking to myself, like, she could have been great in the rest of the film, but you killed her off. Why would you kill her off? Like, that's like, she looks a little bit like Chloe Grace Moretz for some reason. It's the lips, man, those lips. And I'm just saying, it would have been better if she would have lived, and then you guys ended up killing her off. And it's just stupid that she ended up dying. So again, Pedro Pascal is probably one of the best characters out of this film, with character development other than what Tatum. He was in the film for 4 minutes. Halle Berry, I didn't learn much from her in this film. Don't even remember her name. Jeff Bridges, I guess his name's Champion. Well, I guess now she's Whiskey. But after, like, at the thing, it's like, hey, Whiskey was bad. None of you were surprised. I'm really happy that they didn't make the whole statesman bad people, because I was thinking maybe Bridges is bad or Tatum's bad. It was more of just a personal event. It was more of a personal revenge that Pedro Pascal's character had, more than anything, as that's what he thought it should be. So I guess technically he wasn't a bad guy for long. He was a nice guy. It's just he didn't want those people. He wanted them to die instead, so which makes him a bad guy, a third bad guy out of the film. Elton John, really fun, really funny. It's great to see him in here. But after a while, and I've heard this from other reviewers as well, and it's true, it just kind of, he's in there and it's like, oh cool, Elton John, but then he keeps showing up, so it's not a cameo, it's a role, it's a supporting role. And I love my Elton John, but seriously, at what point do you say, okay, that's enough Elton John? And he ended up doing a kick and everything, and I'm just thinking, like, what the hell? And the weird smiling faces, and I was cringy by that point. I think it was funny, like, haha, but after that it was cringy. It was getting really cringy with the whole Elton John thing. How did he escape after that? Did he end up going on helicopter? Why didn't you end up showing Collin Firth backstage at a concert at the end of the film? Nothing like that. There's not even no funeral for Merlin. We'll talk about Merlin in a second, the amazing Mark Strong. Nothing like that. Nothing. He just ends up getting married, Eggsy, which is cool. I'm very happy he's married, but maybe they should have either saved that for the third film, and we should have seen him actually talk to his girlfriend about how her paralysis went and everything, and maybe getting caught up instead of all these other shit that could have been either cut down or taken out of the film. Now, Mark Strong, who's absolutely amazing, and it was really exciting seeing him actually get a tuxedo, and he's going to hold a big knife, and he was going to be part of the team, and then Eggsy steps on a mine, and then now he has to step on a mine, Merlin, to sacrifice himself, but basically he was going to be part of the team, and then he's going to die. What's the point of getting suited up and everything, and then you're just going to die? You're not going to even do an action scene with them. So I was really pissed off about that one there. Mark Strong was way more better in the first one than this one. Way more utilized with his talent. He was more pushed back in this one for sure. But it was really funny. I mean, this one was a really good comedic film. And I did laugh a lot in this film. Like, usually in the Seth Rogen film, which I'm saying Seth Rogen film, I laugh every 15 to 20 seconds. In parts of this film, I laughed every 15 to 20 seconds where it was constant laughter, and I like that. Him drinking, and then they look at the bottle, and he's like, oh, because he told him, you can't have your tears, you gotta do the mission, and then he's just there drinking, and he's like, maybe we should do a shot, and he's like, no, maybe that's enough. They just drank the whole bottle of the Statesman. That was genius. These are the moments of the film where I'm like, this is a great film. And then it started getting more stupid and more dumb of a plot. And a comic book film could be dumb and it could be entertaining, but it gets a little bit more dumber. And it could be dumb, but when it gets dumber. It loses its sense in a sense where it's not a bad film again. It just really, you could have done this or that, and you could have taken that out, and you could have maybe double checked the script before starting to shoot and fix it. Because I think those are the most big problems, is what I've been ranting about or just talking about the past 10 minutes or 15 minutes, is the stuff like that of the villain. And I wrote it down, like the villain, the writing is weak on that one, the motivation of the villain, the president, some character development, especially with the statesman. And statesman didn't do much at all, where they shouldn't probably even be in this film. And then the middle second act was very long and very slow and boring. And I have to agree in a sense or what I'm saying, statesman, or I'm sorry, I should go back to Merlin. I like the whole John Denver stuff, and because John Denver's been in Alien Covenant this year, it's been in Logan Lucky, and now he's in this film, Kingsman: The Golden Circle. You know, country road, take me home to the place I belong, and this the whole singing shit, and it was sad. I got a little teary in my eyes. I think my eyes were sweating or peeing. My eyes were peeing a little bit. They were a little peeing. I got sad. I really got sad because I love Mark Strong and Merlin, and even though it's sad that he died, I think he could have been prevented. It could have been. It's kind of like a Yondu dying sort of situation. Like, Yondu didn't have to die. You literally could have kept him alive, you dick, James Gunn. I love you, James Gunn, but that was a dick move. It's the same here. Matthew Vaughn, dick move of killing Merlin off. You should have kept him alive. You could have done something totally differently, but you fucked up. You killed Merlin, but at the same time, it was kind of a good send-off, but at the same time, we needed more Merlin because he was barely shown in the film. Longer than Channing Tatum, of course, but with that, I do like the whole John Denver part and the score, and even in the beginning when it began, it was doing a John Denver score, and I was thinking, is that Country Road? They're doing a score of John Denver? And then it became part of the whole thing, and then I got it, but more with the pros, you know, the action, Pedro Pascal, the comedies, the score with John Denver's, how creative. The first Kingsman took us all, you know, by storm, and the first one really captured my heart, and I fell in love with it because how original it was, how creative with the weapons, and with the choreography of the action, the church scene, all of that stuff, man. I mean, the characters, you just fell in love with them. The weapons and the kills are very creative, and in a sense with this film, it continues what Kingsman 1 did. It's creative with the weapons, and it's creative with the kills. The meat grinder, the rocket launchers with blowing up the 3 cars and blowing up the guy, and I mean, very creative stuff is written with the team that wrote this film, or the people that wrote this film. They are very talented, and that's where the movie shines, is its action. More than what their characters don't really shine that super much, sadly. Eggsy, he does have character development, and I don't know if that's the first girl from the first one where she does say anal, you know, something like that, if he gets her out. I don't think that's the same girl, or maybe it could be. I wanted to see a little bit more of Eggsy and his girlfriend and with the parents and stuff. Other than that, we only see them in one scene with the parents, and then he's getting married by the end of the film. That probably should have been saved again for the third film, where they get married in the beginning, something like that. And then there's no funeral for Merlin. Honestly, what else is there to talk about spoiler-wise? Again, Merlin's death, we talked about it. We, talking how she was just basically in that whole area in the jungle, and then her dogs were fine. I think the CGI in here and the practical effects were both fine. Nothing wrong with the CGI in this film. But I just feel like, I don't know, it's like she had like 5 guards in the front, like 5 or 6 guys with guns, and then all of a sudden, once the Kingsmen arrive, like 40 other people show up, and they're all in the buildings and stuff. It's like, where were you guys the whole other time, man? Like, there were more people there. Really? And why is she always in that damn diner? Does she ever go get ice cream or some shit like that? Is she always in that damn diner? Is that where she sleeps? Do you not sleep anywhere else? We never got to see more full all of it. And I really just, for some reason, because of that Tomb Raider trailer, I think that Walton Goggins character just probably would live there in the middle of the jungle there, searching the tombs and everything. Walton Goggins, you know, shit like that. I just feel like he would probably fit there perfectly. I love Walton Goggins. He's the best. He's the best. I don't know why he's not on the Sexiest Man Alive cover yet. He will be one day. But with that, the opening action scene was really good. I like the Prince, the Elton John music, the John Denver. So the score and the music choices are great. Again, it's not better than the first one, but it's not a terrible installment. I want to see a third installment. I want to see the story continue. And I think a lot of people will either hate this film or like this film. I don't think many people will walk out and saying they loved it. I do think many people are going to walk in and see problems with it because it does have problems. It's the regular sequel cliche gingivitis shit problems that sequels have. Like that's what I hate about sequels. Like Iron Man 2, oh, it's good to be back, and then Avengers: Age of Ultron when they're all together in the beginning and like, yeah, we're back. I just hate that about sequels. Not every sequel needs to be, we're back and better than ever, let's go. Like, don't do that. I've already heard that before 1,000 other times. Excuse me for a second. We get some awa. Just kidding, it's vodka. Actually, it's very smart if you just put vodka in a water bottle and just walk around. No one will ever know. I mean, they'll smell it on your breath, but you're just like, it's okay. I have vodka-flavored gum. It's fine. It's fine. I don't drink, trust me. I don't drink. Anyway, overall, I think I've repeated myself a lot about Kingsman: The Golden Circle. So I'm trying not to repeat myself again. Other than that, Collin Firth, I didn't mind, honestly, the way that he got revived and everything. I thought it was very interesting. It was fine the way that they fit the statesman in there. I know some people didn't like that. I didn't hate it. I don't have a huge problem with the way that the statesman revived him and stuff. I just was, when they first met him again, and he didn't have his mind, and I was like, oh, come on, don't waste my time like that. Don't waste my time where he doesn't remember. I knew it was going to be something like that some way or another, that his mind, that he doesn't remember. And then it literally takes him like 45 fucking minutes to remember. Jesus Christ, man. Because then the water happens and he almost drowns and all this stuff, and it's like, dude, you could have just done it in 25 minutes or 20 minutes or 15 minutes and waiting like almost a whole hour just to get him back on his feet. It took a while to get his memory back. So once he did get his memory back, obviously his coordinations and his fighting, I think where it really shines the most sequel-wise is Pedro Pascal and his acting and action as his character Whiskey. I think would be a fan favorite with people, and his jokes and his comedy and his comedic timing. That's all great there. The lasso and how he threw the chair at people and threw the knives, and how he said manners maketh man. That was all great about that. And then all of them were kind of like, oh, don't worry, Harry, you'll get your fighting back. So I like how the chemistry between Mark Strong and Collin Firth and Taron Edgerton are. It's a great chemistry that those guys have, and it's sad that we won't see Strong in the next one unless they do a Harry on him and they bring Mark Strong back, the villain, for some reason. So without further ado, I think that's really kind of all the stuff. I'm trying to think more and more. Manners maketh man. Do you know what that means? Collin Firth. Man, he got his ass kicked there, though. Again, a little stuff of decisions, I think, even for a comic book film or a popcorn film, kind of went more over the top in a sense, and a wink wink. Channing Tatum wasn't needed at all, honestly. He was doing a country accent, and I've heard him do country accents before, but I felt like he did a way better country accent in Logan Lucky. I mean, I think he's from New Orleans or something, but he did a way better redneck thing in Logan Lucky than in here. It just felt like he was faking it more in here than it was more believable in Logan Lucky, you know. I don't even think there was that scene where he's like, well, that's very, or like, where Eggsy is like, that's very American, and he's like, fuck yeah. Like, they didn't even do that scene at all. That was like totally cut out of there. Bridges wasn't needed. Again, it's probably all for the sequel because at the end we see Channing Tatum in London going to the Kingsman, dressed as a Kingsman, or he walks out of the tailor as a Kingsman. So I don't know where we're going with there. I don't know if Channing Tatum's going to have a huge role in the third one, or if he's just going to have another moderate role. I guess we'll see with that one. I dropped my cigarette pack in the theater when that was happening, so I was kind of like looking for it, and then like, oh, okay, fancy. So that's how you end the film. A guy who was barely in it for 4 minutes, and he's the last person you see. Wow. Oh, very good there. Yeah, very good. I don't know what that sound was. It was so weird though, because that's what made it ridiculous. I think that's, and it's fine again, but it just became stupidity where you couldn't take it serious, the matter at hand, with them dancing. They were dancing, the people that got sick with the virus, and that's where I think I really lost it, in a sense where I was like, it was stupid, but it was good stupid, and now it's just stupid. People are gonna be like, wow, that's stupid. Probably the best Elton John scene was when he was in the cube and they cured him, and he was like, "Get the fuck out of my room!" That is probably the best Elton John scene right there. That was really, really fun. As well, how did no one trace, like, Jullian Moore cannot have super high tech. Let's be honest about that shit. She's in the middle of the jungle, mercenaries working for her and shit. No, like, she got to hack the president, or like the cable all around the world or something, and be on TV. Yeah. And then nobody ended up finding her source or where she's at, or America didn't go attack her, or some other countries didn't attack her. Yeah. Okay. And I know she's in a place that is not whatever found or something, but it's stupid. It's little stuff like that. But again, Samuel L. Jackson was a better villain. The action, again, is really good. I'll just repeat myself one more time. It's a good action film, an okay film in retrospective. So other than that, if I had to grade it, like I said in my quick review, what I said, I would give it a C+, and then I would give it a 6.8 out of 10. So it's not mediocre in a sense. It's still, well, I guess you could even say parts of it are mediocre. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just right there in the middle. It's just okay. And that's totally fine. I was disappointed, but I'm not disappointed with the whole finished product. Last thing I want to talk about is when Collin Firth shot Whiskey in the face. I did like the whole thing when he got up and he was like, "Hey, baby, I got a 6-pack over there," and he's just like hitting on Halle Berry, and she's like, "I wish I could join the I wish I could join the statesman." And I'm gonna mock right here real quick. Please don't get offensive. Don't be a little bitch. But what I was thinking was, like, she's like, "Well, I want to throw my hat in the ring. I want to be part of the statesman because, you know, a woman doing an intern job, I'd rather be in the field because I'm a woman, strong power, ha ha ha." And I bet all the women in the theater are like, "Woo, yeah, woo, have her in the sequel, she'll be in the field." Like hey, if she hasn't played fucking Storm and hasn't been a badass in other films, now she has to try to be a badass in the next one, right? okay, I have no problem with it, but I'm just saying still, it's like, fuck, here we go. She wants to be part of the team and be a badass, right? Like, you're doing an important thing and being on the chair. You're the Oracle. That's another badass thing. You don't always have to be in the field fucking killing people. You're fine. But whatever. We'll see what happens there, if she returns for the sequel or not, and Jeff Bridges and Tatum for sure is going to return. Yeah, but he ended up shooting whiskey, and it was like, holy shit, he shot him. And I'm glad that it didn't kill him all the way, because it was kind of off camera. You really was just like off camera shot, so we didn't get to see blood splatter or nothing like that. It was more of like right here than anything. But still, I mean, he was right. I think everybody kind of sees it coming there that he's a villain one way or another. The way that he knocked it out of Eggsy's hand, the antidote. Also, Eggsy, why didn't you grab more? You could have grabbed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could have grabbed any, like, more than one. You had enough time, and you didn't. Plus, with the whole, I know it just seems like I'm shitting on the film, but trust me, I'm not. I just think there's a lot of the spoiler stuff to talk about, or the big spoiler stuff is more of the stuff that just really was the downfall of the film. Plus the parts of the film with the action and the creativity of that, and the CGI and the music score, and Taron Edgerton, I think, still has a huge future in Hollywood, man, and in films. I loved him in Eddie the Eagle as an actor. I respect him, and I want to see him do more roles and diverse roles and everything like that, or more of a range, because he does have a really good range. So I want to see more of Taron Edgerton. So I'm glad that, again, Collin Firth will probably return for a third Kingsman within the next 3 or 4 years. So there's the good and the bad and the ugly about this film for sure. And yeah, there's a lot of downs in this film, but not enough where I would say, no, don't go see this film. Again, if you enjoy the first Kingsman film, then definitely watch this film. But just don't expect it to be better than the first one. But still be entertained. You go to the theater and you want to be entertained. You will be entertained by this film for sure. You'll laugh your ass off a little bit. You'll cry a little bit. Hopefully you'll cry a little bit, and you'll be on the edge of your seat, maybe just for 1 or 2 action scenes, just a little bit. As long as you get a reaction out of it, that's all that matters, and that you feel you paid your money's worth. Try to go to the earliest matinee, the cheapest price you can get, and I do plan on picking this up on Blu-ray as well. I'm very excited. I do plan on seeing it again in theaters. I'm going to take my mom out in the next few weeks. And I'm very excited for that, to actually see it again. And maybe I'll have second thoughts when I see it a second time. All I know is the villain's pretty stupid and all that whole writing there. But other than that, comedy-wise, yeah. Until the comedy got more and more stupid. It was funny with the president, but it was stupid at the same time, where it's like, come on. Well, you made your choice. I'm disgusted by you. Like, if his whatever, the president's hand, or the girl in the president's office, like, I guess she did a drug or something, and now she's the bad person, right? Like the president's just being a total dick, and anyway, I'm glad he got impeached, by the way. Now I wonder who's going to become the president. So that's going to be interesting. I guess that we're going to have to see that in the third one, if they bring that all up. So I think that it has its ups and it has its downs. Sadly, it has a lot more downs. But overall, Kingsman does what a Kingsman does best, with the action and the looking badass while doing it. I love the whole gentleman fighting, even when he snapped the guy's neck and said, "Good night, bruv." Little stuff like that. Little things that you notice there. So, without further ado, I think that's where I'm going to call it a night, man. I really do appreciate you guys checking out this spoiler review for whoever checks it out. I do want to hear your feedback and what you guys think about Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Do you like it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What was your favorite part of Kingsman: The Golden Circle? What did you want to see in it? Do you recommend it? Do you not recommend it? I want to hear everything you guys can about Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I really do appreciate, again, each and every one of you. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, share, and hit that subscribe button for more spoiler reviews every single week. TV show reviews, trailer reactions, unboxings, giveaways, and much, much more. This video's probably been about 25, 35 minutes already, man. So, other than that, Kingsman, it's an okay sequel. It could have been way worse. I think if they would have changed the villain, I think Jullian Moore still should have been the villain. If they could have made her do something more, if she could have actually fought back at the end. I don't know, if she actually fought the Kingsman back or had a badass robot suit or anything more better than that, than her just sitting there and on heroin and just like, oh, you're cute, and then falling down, and then having Pedro Pascals show up, even though he's amazing in there, having him be the bad guy as well. Because it was sad though when he did mention that his wife died between two meth dealers and shit, or users. I felt it, and the way he delivered that line, that was great. But that final shot where they dunk him into the meat grinder, that is a badass shot. That's a money shot right there. I love the whole slow motion shots and the action scenes. I think every action scene is entertaining and is either good or sometimes great. So that's really what holds the movie together, as well as with Eggsy and Whiskey and Collin Firth, especially. But the stupid butterfly thing, I think it adds a little comedy with him missing shots and stuff. But once Harry is actually Harry again, that's what really just it brings it up more and more. Alright, thank you guys again. I appreciate each and every single one of you. I'll see you for the next one, whichever the next one may be. And I do recommend going to see Kingsman: The Golden Circle at the cheapest price if you can, if you enjoyed the first one. If you haven't seen the first one, go see the first one. And then up to you. Maybe see the second one in theaters. But I do recommend watching this, whether it's in the theater or DVD or streaming somewhere. Definitely, this film is worth a watch. Thank you guys again. Till next time,